Welcome to another episode of the Straight Up Chicago Investor Podcast. I'm 𝗤𝘃𝗀𝗀𝗃, licensed agent with Second City Real Estate. With me, as always, is Mark Ainley, founder and co-owner of 𝗤𝘵𝗀𝗀𝗃. Mark, I'm going to ask you again, what do you want our listeners to do to that subscribe button?
Smash it. Give us some likes, give us some smashing, and definitely leave us some 5 stars.
I love it. We can just cut the episode right now. That was great. Did you, I'm assuming this will air probably end of May, but we're recording this right after tax season. I'm assuming, did you extend? Are you one of those guys that it's October 15th for you every year?
Yeah, no, definitely. And more so it's because, partnerships and the different partnerships are slower to get us the K2s. But I remember, I don't know, in my early 20s or when I had a WC job, I remember like rushing, like waiting for my employer to give me that W-2 so I would get my refund check back. And now it's like I dread that email to know how much more I owe after I already cut a bunch of money earlier in there. Now, in the last, call it 7 years, whatever, I've broken my own curse of holding off to the end of the year to see how much I owe and write the check. And I've gotten out ahead of that. But yeah, no, definitely extended. We will take all the way to October though. How about you? Do you usually wrap it up in the summer?
Most of it. And then like we end up scrambling for the end of it. And this year will be a little bit different just because I had a lot of changes. Did my first cost seg, which was awesome. So that helps a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I say right now on air, oh yeah, we'll probably be June, July. We'll be October. That's how it's going to roll. So, but we have, and I know Aaron Zerman's going to be writing a few more blogs for us too. So for those who probably went through this season and said, man, I thought I'd get a bigger break or whatever, like we'll have some more content coming out there for you.
I'll give one more tip on this before we go into the tip. But one thing that we used to run into issues with is when we're trying to extend our taxes and maybe I was trying to get a loan or trying to refinance something or get a portfolio. And then all of a sudden as self-employed, usually in those years, our motivation was if we want to get this loan closed or this property purchase, we got to get our taxes done and submitted to the bank as a final condition. So keep that in mind. If you are extending your taxes, trying to take advantage of that, make sure if you have any loans that you're going to be qualifying for or closing on, that's not going to be an obstacle that's going to be hold you back.
Yeah, and probably even if you're looking to purchase, include your lender. Hey, this is what I'm going to report it. Especially if you're truly, just a realtor, just someone who's an entrepreneur, you don't have that W-2, probably include your lender. Like, hey, like I'm going to look to purchase something this year. Am I getting too aggressive with the write-offs? Yes.
That's I think you do a whole nother episode with Aaron on that one.
Yeah, maybe we will. We'll leave that as a cliffhanger. What's our housing provider tip of the week?
Housing provider tip of the week. Just keep something in mind. It's now law in Cook County. It's been law in Chicago for a while. This will air in May. You still have to deal with the no heat calls right now, even though they're annoying and you have a hard time putting a couple $100 here, a couple of $100 there, or maybe even replacing a furnace this time of year. It's painful. I know. But if you're not reporting to your no heat issues and following the city of Chicago temperature requirements or the Cook County temperature requirements, you get in trouble for it. So just keep that in mind. It's kind of a thing. So from September 15th to June 1st, you are to be following the heat ordinances for Chicago and Cook County. If you're in DuPage and Kane, then you're good. You can let your tenants freeze.
Perfect. That's just great advice to put out there in the air. All right. Well, let's talk something new. We have not touched this on the episode yet, have we?
No, we haven't. I've heard this topic bounce around in circles before, and I've never really dug into it. And I've actually heard somebody on a national level talk about this before. But today's guest, and I got to ask this question when we get him going here, but he started first business at 15 years of age. So I'd love to hear what he's doing. Started real estate investing in 2010. He is owner of 𝗤𝘃𝗶𝗵𝗁𝘁 Senior Living. His niche is full integrated boutique senior living. He's got 7 locations, 98 assisted living beds up and operating, and he's in 6 different regional markets. Boutique senior living fund. He started a fund around this. He's raised $75 million to open 300 homes by December 2025. So excited to hear about that aggressive plan. And this is a 506C for accredited investors type fund he has. So excited to hear more about this. But without further ado, want to introduce Brandon Schwab. How do we give a good intro? Do we lose anything? Tell us what you did at 15.
That was awesome, man. Perfect, guys. Back at 15, I was detailing cars boats and RVs for back in 2015. I did that for 14 years till the 2008, when everything was able to crash in 2008. I ended up exiting that in 2010. So I got into investing post 2008 crash, and I have been able to do it ever since. I mean, that was fun back as I was 15 years old, but I figured out quickly that I need to get into purchasing assets.
I love it. I love it. I think a lot of our guests, you hear a lot of people that are successful. They're always doing these side hustles at a very young age to earn money.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We should do a poll of like how many of them worked for, the Vector Marketing, the Cutco. Like,
yep.
I bet you it's half.
No. Those little those little things that you do. And the great thing about being 15 to run your own business, you're not paying unemployment tax. You're doing all these. There's a lot of shortcuts you can take at 15 running your own little side hustle than there's at 25. So.
Oh, for sure.
But Brandon, jump in here. I gave the intro. People are probably wondering what this niche looks like. Give us a high level of what you do. You take this and you do this and you do that, and your end product is this for this people.
High level overview. I found a issue in the country. How they care for the elderly is absolutely terrible. I figured out an answer of how to take care of the folks who are older. Awesome. And I have been able to purchase homes and convert them into a asset that is able to profit up to 15 to 20 each month per house. So I've been able to help the elderly. I've been able to figure out how to earn off of it. And I am changing the atmosphere for the industry of how people think of caring for the elderly. Oftentimes people think of these huge 100 to 200 type places that are just cold. They are able to have an odor to them. They aren't very kind. I am changing that to very cozy homes. And those type of homes are 10 to 20 people per home. Totally different.
So we're going to take a deep dive there because we haven't talked about this strategy yet on the podcast.
Good. Okay, good.
Before doing that though, how are you enlightened with this idea, right? Like this, did you heard someone on a podcast and go, this is for me and I'm going to research it all. Like how did this get sparked into you? Because it's not like a well-known niche within the real estate community, I feel. Sure.
So I'll tell you a quick thing that happened to our family. And I was able to hate the industry. I hated everything on it. I got exposed to a 200-bed building that offered terrible care. Just my 85-year-old grandpa had he had to go into a building as he was getting towards the end there, and he had to have help. And we pulled the pull cord to get him a person to come help him. And it took him forever. 5 minutes goes by, 10 minutes, 15. By 20 minutes, I am able to get pretty angry, right? By 25, I go crazy. And I am able to go out to find the two people to come over here to help him. But I'll tell you, I did not handle it, Tom, that properly because I exploded on him, right? Those two caregivers came to help him, but they were probably pretty pissed at me. After that experience of being in a big, cold type place, I hated it. I did everything I could to don't have to ever end up in them ever. And fast forward 10 years, I was down in Florida, and Kelly's dad, our father-in-law, he plays the piano at the old folks home 328 times per year for $35 each. And I would go to all of his shows, and I hated going because it took me back 10 years and I hated going to those places. And a thing that would happen, Tom, is I would try to get out of having to go. And then I'd go, Kelly, is there anything that I could do that I don't have to go? Cooking, cleaning, anything. Because I just hated the overall atmosphere. And she gave me this, you have to go or else. And I didn't have a clue if or else was I was going to get cut off, if I wasn't able to eat, all these things that aren't good. So I ended up going, right? And this time we pulled up to a 5-bed home by Tampa. And I go, what the heck is this? Because at that time I had 23 homes. I had passive income of about $5,400 each month. I kind of thought I had everything like perfect. I opened up we had our own club for investors. We had about 110 people out each month. Like I thought I had everything all figured out. And then I had 23 homes. I go into this house down in Florida and I'm able to do this, like the arms cross. And so I go, what the heck is this place? Like, this is cool. It didn't have the odor. It didn't have the atmosphere of every other place that I've been into. And I'm able to go in there and it was totally, and the girl that was in charge, I go, hey, so like how much do people pay to be in here? And I think I threw out a figure of like 1,500 or 2,000 each month. And this girl goes and just kind of kept on going. And that time I'm like, Kelly, this girl didn't even answer me. What the hell just happened? And when I called her the day after, the girl goes, Brandon, I feel terrible. They are able to get going at 5,200 each month. My head exploded because I quickly figured out, I said, that home with 5 people in it, that was a awesome atmosphere, was outperforming all 23 homes that I had 2 times per month. And I said, that's really cool. And down in Florida, there's 1,800 of these things, right? California, there's 2,800. I come up here to Chicagoland and guess, so like how many there is, Tom?
A couple dozen, right? Like none, low end of the spectrum.
55.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm going to figure this thing out. And I was able to exit 22 of those 23 homes. I was able to offload them in 32 days. And I said, I am going to hop into this, So that was how I was able to get in.
Awesome. So let's start then. Where, I want to talk about, permits. I want to talk about what type of building, what type of area. Like, I guess where to start for someone who's new to this is what would make a good potential investment. Like, did you focus on a specific area, a specific type of like larger single family home? Like, what are some of those just high level clues for someone who's completely naive here, like myself?
Well, a person that's thinking of to get into it, I would tell you to think twice because it's hard. It's hard because you are operating a asset that is going to be underneath. In fact, to get the house open, that's actually the easy part. When you're open, you have a whole health care company that you have to operate. So that's like a whole other thing. So I would tell anyone thinking of getting into it, go, well, geez, they are earning awesome money. Yes, we are, but it's hard. It's hard and you have to do things properly because you are taking care of people's elderly, right? You have to do things how they ought to be. And you can't cut corners. So the thing that I did was I was looking for homes that were about 4,500 feet plus. The challenge is I was looking for those homes 4,500 feet plus on the very first floor only. I was trying to keep it even, right? Because if you have to add 2 floors, that's tougher, right? And it's hard to find that type of home here. And I had a tough time. And I would typically try to find household incomes that were over 80,000. And I was trying to get the percentage of the elderly over 12% of the total population. So those are the things so I was able to use up front to get things purchased. Yep. One of the things that I found too is when I opened up homes, the people that I would talk to when I would go try to purchase them, they would not give me financing very easily because I did not open any of these homes prior. So one of the things I got good at is carrying back financing is how I opened up probably our first 3 or 4 homes. So.
Got it. So order of operations, you find a home that's a good fit, as you just described. You have to find a seller who's willing to do some sort of carryback or seller financing.
Right.
Then once you own, what's like the business side then? Like what's the minutia to say, yep, this is a senior care facility? Like I'm assuming it's much harder than just, hey, here's my 2 unit.
Yeah. So it is. You have to go what's called through you need to get a conditional permit for it, which takes about 3 months up to about 5 months to get that. And then you will get plans or permits to begin opening up the house. The average house that I buy, I put an average of about $500,000 into each house. So our first house we bought for $250,000, and I put $550,000 into it. Most people from the outside are going, "What the hell are you doing, Brandon?" And I go, "Well, it's the thing that has to be done," because I felt with the past that I had of the industry that I was not cutting anything. Things had to be done perfectly, or else I was not going to ever enter it. So I over rehabbed everything. I always tend to go over budget by 20 to 30% because I don't cut anything. It has to be done how it has to be done. And then after that, you have to like find a whole team to operate them. You have to hire care team, RNs, so like nurses, all of that. And then you got to figure out how to get people into your home and how to get them comfortable to feel confident to give their elder to you. Takes time. So I bought our first house in 2014. It's been close to 8 years and we are just getting going. Like it takes time, but we have figured out that to do things how they ought to be done is a huge opportunity for us because there is not a ton of places that truly care. There's a ton of big operators that have places that are 100 to 200 plus beds, but they care on earning money. So what they do is they cut the expenses, which is the care team first, because they are expensive. And the average caregiver in every other place has to care for 20 to 30 people. Tom, do you think you can care for 20 people?
No, I can't keep track of my 4 kids.
Okay. So picture building a whole industry off of a poor care that has to care for 20 to 30 people. It just doesn't work. So I built our whole image that every caregiver in all of our homes has to care for 5 to 8 people. That's it.
How do you even get at when you're first starting off with this? Like, how do you get like fractional RNs, or like do you have to have scale before you can operate this? Like, tell me about some of the pitfalls of just getting started.
Oh my goodness, man. I can tell you, I can talk on this for hours. Just all of the things that I was able to do that were like, why did I do that? Finding a RN that would be able to go part-time is hard, but this was 2015. So back in 2015, things were easier to find a care team. Today, you could not find an RN that would take a deal 15 to about 25 hours per week. You just aren't able to find them. And then we would get them part-time to come in to pass the pills 2 to about 3 times per day. And then you would have to hire a care team. I began with folks 24 hours, and then I quickly figured out that I couldn't do that anymore, that I did 12-hour shifts. So that's how things were able to get going. I mean, it was tough, but when you truly care, you figure out how to do it. And then people that are able to come into your home tell elders, and then that's how things are able to go. I mean, I can tell you in the first couple of years, I put towards pay-per-click, I'll bet you I put 50,000 per year, and I didn't get anything out of it. Like, I was trying to compete with people that were putting 7 to 8 figures each month. That 50,000 I put at it just didn't do anything. So I probably blew $100,000 on advertising just through pay-per-click that did not help us at all. I didn't get anybody. I could have just gone, cash gone. And I figured out how to fill our house February of 17. I'm in a town of 832 people, right? Not a very awesome MSA, right? I filled it in about 1 year and 5 months. I filled it, and I filled it from a daughter that was able to, the daughter cut hair. And once her family got in there and got awesome care, this daughter told everybody. So I went from 3 people to 10 within like 45 days. And then I said, holy cow, we are bringing in awesome income. And then I had to like get a team to keep up with all of that. And that was back in 2017, I was able to fill it. So
I imagine the once you get them in, it sounds like obviously it's a lot more time to get going and ramp up, and word of mouth can help going forward. But once you get them in, they're literally forever, right? I mean, that's usually the plan.
Not forever, no. Our average time that they are in our home is 3.2 years. Yeah. Okay. So one of the things that I found early on is in the other properties, right? They would not change people quickly. All right. And that was the biggest cause for people being able to pass, is if they don't get changed quickly, then they're in their accident for hours, 2, 3, 4 hours. What would happen is if they don't get changed, their tissue would get very easy to tear. And then all it takes is just this turning, and it tears. And that would get infected, and that would have people be able to pass. I figured out how to keep that from ever happening. And the average time people are in our homes is 3.2 years now. So if you offer awesome care, they don't pass for 3.2 years. So on average. Gotcha.
Now, I'm going to go backwards here. You're putting a large amount of CapEx in these properties.
Large.
First off, are you able to do cost segregation? Just a quick side note on that, yes or no?
We can, but as I opened it, I didn't even hear of that back in 2015.
Gotcha. So you are able. That's a lot of CapEx for that you could probably. That's a huge savings. Secondly, what is there? I mean, I imagine you're not putting that money in to look like a traditional home. Like, where's that money going? Like, that's a lot on a per square foot basis. Like, where's a lot of that going to? Or are there things specific to this use that have to be up to grade? So give us kind of a talk through of kind of what those rehabs consist of.
Yeah. So by code, you have to have one ADA bathroom per floor, and you have to have an ADA access point to get into the house. And you have to have a full fire protection system if you have over 8 people. So fire protection and sprinklers are 40 to 50,000. I did a full commercial kitchen that was 85,000. And then I decided that one ADA per house isn't good enough. So I added 3. And I just did things how they had to be done. If there's any place where people have to go up or down, in this first house I bought, there was about 3 inches in the kitchen that was this little tiny up. That can't be there. So you have to take out all of that. I put cameras on the inside and the outside. I had 9 or 10 cameras on the inside, and I think I had 2 or 3 outside. So I put what I felt would be what our family would ask for to give a good, cozy home feel. The average bedroom was 12 by 12. The whole point of it is that they aren't in there the whole afternoon. If you go to these other places, they have 1 or 2, and each apartment's like 1,200 feet. The problem is if you're 85 years old, you just don't ever come out. and then you don't talk to anybody. And if you don't talk to anybody, you aren't up here going, right? Things begin slowing down, and then you're able to pass. So we build a cozy home, but a thing that I do different is I custom build tables where everyone eats collectively. So I build a 10-person tables like 18 feet. We custom build those so everyone can eat. And that's key for us because we want them to eat and feel comfortable of how they did when they were 5 years old, 10 years old. And that is key for us. I hate table because those 3 people only talk to here, boom, boom, boom. And then it gets very, you have issues with that.
What does management look like? Like, so you get them, you get the staff working around, which that seems pretty daunting in itself. You get the place ready, you get the staff, you get the residents. What does ongoing management look like for you as the provider?
So I did all of that personally at first, and then I quickly figured out that I did not have that area of expertise for that. So I quickly partnered up with a person who had 38 years of healthcare experience. I was actually calling on church pastors because I thought a church pastor would have access to who's who, and church pastors are hard to call on because they don't answer their phone. I finally got a church pastor to call me back, and I talked with him. And I think honestly, he was like, Brandon, you aren't so good at this. Why don't I introduce you to this person who has been in healthcare for 38 years? He didn't actually tell me that, but I just think that he felt that I wasn't that good at it, right? Because I used to do cars and also for 14 years, I didn't have that area of expertise. I mean, I did invest into homes from 2010 through 14. So I was able to open it, but I found out that opening up the home was the easy part. Operating it, that was a whole different topic. So I had to find experts that had that experience. And I ended up partnering up with a girl that was able to help me for filling the open beds and then operating it. You have to hire a ED, a nurse, all those things are able to happen. Our company has grown today now where we've got a full-time ED, we got a full-time chief, so like operating officer, we have a full-time RN. We have all these different types of people in place that our overhead today is over 50,000 each month. So fast forward to today, it's expensive. At first, when you don't have cash to pay for it, you do everything in-house yourself, basically, right? So I was working 40, 50, 80 hours per week easily. And the part that was challenging is if anyone called off to come in to do care, guess who got called? This guy.
Yeah.
And that was not very fun.
Cool. So while we're talking about just getting stabilized, how are these things appraised? Meaning, you put all this money into it. How do you pull out, some of it, all of it, whatever it might be? Like, how do you recycle that cash? Like when you get an appraisal, are they looking at other similar properties? Like, it seems like such a bizarre thing for me. Like it's so like specialized.
So our first property, we bought it for $250. We put $550 into it. And when we had it up and operational in 2018, we had it appraised, and we took our T12, which was the past trailing 12 months, and we had it appraised, and our property was very profitable. We had income of over 55,000 each month, expenses of 28 to 32,000. We did pretty good each year. And what I found is they used a cap rate, which in this industry at the time was 10%. And they actually discounted that cap rate to 13.5%. And that first property appraised for $1.8 million. So when everyone thought I was a total idiot, they said, oh, 1.8 million, that a bank will give you 80% of that. different story.
Yeah, now you're looking pretty.
Yes. You just have to get there.
So how long was that process then? Like you had to get the actual customers in there, then show stabilize for 2 years. So it's 4-year process.
3 years.
Like, okay.
It took us from the time that I opened it. We bought it October of 2014, October 31st of 2014. We got permits through the city April of 2015. I opened the doors September 5th, 2015. I filled it February of 17. I got it appraised in 2018. So it's about 3 years. Yeah.
Okay, got it. And is that still how they're doing things now? Right? Like if the latest one you did, is it still very similar, or how are they doing it now?
What I found is when you have 2, 3, 4 properties, cap rates go down drastically, down to 8 to 10%. So if you have a property that is profitable, if you have 3, 4, 5 of them, they are looking at what's the total company coverage to cover the past appraisal we got was just at 8%. Now that's a big difference from 8 to 13%. That goes up drastically higher.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Just to be clear though, like compressing cap rate will give you a higher evaluation, right? Like, or am I missing something here? Okay, so this is
correct. So let's take if you had an NOI annually, which that's the only figure that they care on. They don't care if it is huge, tiny, if it is pink, they don't care. The only thing they care is what's the NOI. And if you took an NOI of say 240,000 at a 10% cap rate, so like you take 240,000 divided by
0.1.
Yep, by 10% cap rate, that gives you $2.4 million. If you do 240,000 divided by a 13.5% cap rate, it's 1.8 million. If you do that times an 8% or divided by an 8% cap rate, you're over $3 million.
Over 3, yeah. Got
it. The thing that's really cool for us is I get to buy properties that are based off of as is comps in the area. And then I put all this time and effort in, and then I get to do takeout financing, which is using an income-based appraisal to do the takeout financing.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. I guess the only like risk in that equation, or I mean, there's always a lot of risk in real estate, but
sure,
the biggest risk there is just it's a longer sleigh, right? It's a 2-year. Sure. Like there's a lot of variables that can happen in that time frame. It's not flipping a house in 60 days.
No, sir. No, it is not. But I was able to get into it to have time to go do other things. I have been able to, because of us in this company, I have been able to coach a 8U travel team. I've been coaching travel baseball from 8U through 14U, and it's only because I have time to go be able to do that.
Yep, no,
and that's
awesome.
This guy right here.
I was trying to look. He's got a logo in the background there, and I couldn't see I saw the 2 bats, and I couldn't make out the logo though.
Yep.
I was trying to think it was a minor league team or something, but now it makes sense.
Yep. Cobras baseball.
There we go. All right. So where do you see the future of this? Is this something that is getting much more competitive now? Is there still a lot of way to run? Like, are you bullish and saying, hey, I'm going to triple in the next X years? For someone who's not in the industry, where do you see this going?
Oh my God. I will tell you, COVID has changed the industry. Okay. Think about the taxi industry, right? The taxi industry was ancient. Taxi, right? In order to call one, you just had to be able to put up your hand, right? Mm-hmm. And then came Uber, right? That changed it. They turned it upside down. COVID has been the avenue to expose these 100 to 200 bed type buildings for that they don't offer good care. these past 2 years have had these big 100 to 200 bed buildings front page, right? People are dead, 42%, all in these big homes. They could not control COVID, right? That hurt the industry. But what's happening is people don't trust these 100 to 200 type places, and they are looking for a cozy home atmosphere that can offer awesome care. Every person that's in here just to earn cash is getting killed right now because they don't care. Every person that's able to get into this industry that truly is putting the type of care that is offered as their top, they are doing good. I would tell you our occupancy during COVID almost 2x'd. Where I feel things are going to go over the upcoming 5-10 years is going to be incredible. We are aiming to 10x our homes in this area by the end of 2022. We are actively expanding because we figured things out that took me about 8 years to get things figured out. Now I get to help other people that maybe didn't do as well during COVID. I can help them out of the industry where we can have us purchase them for cash and have them exit. Where I feel over the upcoming 5-10 years, the industry is going to change. Caring for the elderly isn't going to be in these huge type places. It is going to be cozy homes. So we are going to have thousands of them, like 3,000 of them by 2030.
Wow.
That's crazy. That's awesome. I love 𝗵𝘃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃. That's awesome.
𝗵𝘃𝗃𝗃, yes, sir.
Talk to me about the cities and zonings and what is that like? Do you have to have a special zoning, or is this can be similar to any other rental ordinance that you have to follow?
Yes, you do. There's a whole process, and if you open up without that, they are going to come down on you hard. There was a person that opened up a 5-bed home without going through the, I think once you have beyond 2 people, then you have to have this through 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗵𝗁. You have to get a conditional use permit first. That takes about 2 months to about 4 months to get. Once you have that, then you need to be able to build things properly, which they are all overview of how they have to be done. And then once you are up and operational, they come through your house each year, 2-3 times per year. So it's heavily operated by the public health department. And I'll tell you that there's only 55 of them here because it's very difficult to open here. The 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗵𝗁, the public health department, is a total pain as far as opening up these homes, that they are difficult on you. They hold you to what everyone else is able to have to do, which is hard when you only have 10 people coming in.
Got it. So does it matter by village at all then too? Right? Like I get we have like this board that comes to review, but does it matter if you're in, St. Charles versus Batavia, or is it all the village really has nothing to do with it at this point?
The village does, because the village has to pass you through it first. And oftentimes you'll find these towns that go, hey, this is a really cool idea, but why don't you go elsewhere? Like, don't do it here. And that doesn't work like that. There's a federal Fair Housing Act that basically keeps that from ever happening. But sometimes towns have to go through that the hard way. They think they can keep you out, but at the end of the day, they cannot discriminate against the elderly, pink people that are older, who are able to be kids. They cannot keep you out. And the Federal Fair Housing Act is what protects you from being able to do that.
Got it. And then while we're kind of circling back to acquisition here and getting this off the ground, what are you doing for funding, right? Is this all private investors and you're doing fundraising? Are there specific acquisition lines that specialize in this space?
Private capital. Yeah. We, in our first round of funding, with all of our LLCs, we brought in private capital of over $10 million.
Okay. So you started, and this is before you bought your first property, you're saying?
How did you
get the first, I guess let's walk through the first one. when you said, hey, I have this crazy idea? Was that just friends and family raising money to get to that, the 800K or whatever you needed to get off the ground?
Well, I had 23 properties that I had tenants in all of them. I put 22 of them up for sale. We sold them to our club of investors. We just peeled them off in 32 days. Gone. I had about 500 grand from that, and that gave me capital to get things going. But what I found was really difficult is when I went to get financing, when I told them what I was going to do, these banks were like, what are you doing? Like, they would not touch me with a 10-foot pole. They were like, well, that's cool. Why don't you go open up your first one and then come back to me? Yeah. And so it was like, crap, what do I do? So then I found a group of investors that were comfortable with the healthcare industry, and they weren't getting the IRRs that they were happy with elsewhere. And they were like, well, if you can help the elderly and give us a good ROI and feel comfortable with the asset, cool, perfect. So that's how we opened up our first 5 homes. And then we asked for 5 years. And then we are actually at the point now today where we are doing takeout financing, and we are able to get them all paid back. So we are able to give back investors over $10 million. And when they get their cash back early, they are going to go, well, Brandon, can you go put this elsewhere?
Yep.
Yes, you can. So
that's a great situation to be in.
Yes, sir.
It's amazing niche that you have there. And it's obviously there's a lot you had to overcome, and you're overcoming still, but very impressed on everything you've done, Brandon.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Tom, you ready to wrap?
Let's wrap.
All right, Brandon. All right. So I'm going to rephrase this first question. Brandon, in the face of so many people saying, go do this somewhere else, how have you been overcoming, or what quality have you had to have within you to help you keep fighting the next fight or the next challenge around the next corner in a niche that no one can really, it's so few you could actually lean on to mentor you on?
Well, without getting to the point of busting into tears, my father died when I was 2.5. His dad is the person that had a very terrible, in a 200-bed type home. He had a terrible experience, and I have the inner passion to change that for everyone else going forward. That when I hit issue after issue after issue, I could not say that I was able to toss everything in because two people were able to tell me that I was a idiot for doing this. Like, I just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. I mean, the top quality that kept me in this is I knew what I was going to do, and I would not quit pushing till I was able to get there. Persistence, baby.
Love it. Absolutely love it. So, and you were an investor before, you had properties before getting into this niche. So what is one piece of advice that you would tell someone that is yet to buy their first property here in the Chicagoland area?
One piece of advice: start with active income. So like wholesaling first. That teaches you how to do it without a ton of exposure. And then as early as you can, convert the active income to solid. I would say if you could get as fast to passive income, that's key. Cash that is able to pay you each month if you are able to do anything or not. That's key, is to go from active to passive income. But I would tell people that are just getting going, find a good coach that has been able to do what you are looking to do, and either be able to partner up with them to get taught how things have to be done. Don't go be able to do it on your own, because I will guarantee you, what's that old quote of, if you think education is expensive, try ignorance?
Yep.
That's like 10 times.
I've never heard that. I like that though.
Yeah. So,
all right,
hey,
Brandon, when you're not building this empire, what are you doing for fun?
oh man, I coach travel baseball. I would say every Friday through Sunday, about 35 out of 52 each year. We are all over the place traveling. It is awesome. When I have time, when we aren't coaching travel baseball, we've got a 33-foot. We'll take out our boat on 𝗬𝘃𝗲𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃, but I don't go out on there too often. If I do, it's either Tuesdays or Thursdays. That's it.
Sounds good.
What is baseball?
What is a good book, podcast, or self-development activity that you would recommend to our listeners?
𝗤𝘵𝗶𝗵𝗵 by 𝗤𝘵𝘃𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀. That book changed everything for me back in 2014. He helped push me over the edge of detailing cars and RVs for 14 years. And he helped push me over the edge to build an income that would give me the opportunity to go do other things other than put in 52, so like 80 hours each week. Podcast. There's a bunch of good podcasts out there. I like podcasts that can teach you things that you can put into place today versus I hate people. If I could tell you too, is to take action's key. I am the guy that will jump out of the airplane and I will figure out how to put everything to, as I'm able to go down to earth. If you overanalyze things, you won't ever do anything. I feel like to find a good podcast that is a person's going to be doing what you are trying to do, and to follow them, but just take action. Take everything that they are able to do. Podcast, I would say probably David Phelps has a podcast, the Financial Blueprint, which is fantastic.
Nice.
Time Freedom.
Life in Air, I don't think has been mentioned before, Mark.
No,
Fantastic book.
I wrote it down for sure. Also, I like your comment about real actionable information. Tom, we got to make sure that our information.
That's our new tagline. I like it.
Actionable. So, all right, Brandon, besides yourself, name one person in your local network that you'd highly recommend to other investors as a quality resource.
Ooh, local network. I was impressed with a guy, but it might be a competitor for you guys. So I don't know if
say it.
I was impressed with Andrew 𝗬𝘃𝗲𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗀.
Oh yeah.
What he has.
Guess 50.
Yeah. What he has
to remember.
what he has going on is great in the area. I would tell you he isn't anyone that I use personally. I kind of did things hard way. If I would have got into investing and if I would have had him to help me, I think I would have got there faster. But find a good person to teach you and pay them.
Nice. So Brandon, you've provided a ton of value to our listeners. How can they learn more about you? And is there any way they can provide value to you?
There is. Our page on the internet for our fund would be great. If anyone's interested to invest, they can always go there. Accredited investors only. The boutique senior living fund.com. That's probably the best place to go to create a investor account. What would happen is our EA would call them and just find out if they are a good fit. lot of folks are interested to help the elderly and don't think that they can go to do it personally. This is an awesome avenue for people to place capital into an asset class where you can help the elderly and earn a good ROI. So that would help us open up homes faster. Our fund is aiming to bring in $25 million to add 24 homes per year for 5 years. So our aim is to do 120 homes over 5 years and change the industry. So that's how people could help to go to that. If you can put that on there, that'd be great. And that's probably the best way to do it. That's how people would get to talk to me, is they would go there, fill out the info, and then they would talk to the EA first. And if they are an awesome fit, then I would jump on a call face to face. Once people are interested in investing, they would come out to our homes, touch them, feel them. I do have virtual tours for a few of our homes. I was gonna talk on to have you guys put eyeballs on our homes, because everything going on for the past couple of years, COVID, we did virtual tours so people can actually go through all of our homes without actually having to go in there, which is cool.
That's awesome. You can share those with us and we can put them in the show notes for everyone to see.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Awesome. All right. So when we were bantering before here, found out Brandon's up in the far Northwest, which to me is he's up in Minnesota, basically. He's past Arlington Heights. I don't know the area. So Mark, I'm going to give you this one. I think you can do it without multiple choice.
Hold on. This one we got our,
who's our merch purchase?
So Candy Brooks, she bought a pair of sweatpants about 2 months ago. So Candy. Yeah, out of Tinley Park. So Candy, if I get this question right, you get $100 gift card, and this is sponsored by Renovo.
Awesome. All right. And we'll let Brandon chime in if you can't do it as well. All right. So this city in McHenry County has been referred to as Typewriter Row. In 1922, workers in the city built more than half of the world's typewriters. Name that city in McHenry County.
I'm going to go with Richmond.
Brandon, what do you want to go with?
Harvard.
Woodstock.
Woodstock.
The Emerson Typewriting Company and the Oliver Typewriting Company. Both located up there.
Have you ever seen Groundhog Day with Bill Murray? That was filmed in Woodstock.
Yeah, of course. I'm not 22.
All right. Sorry, you're like insulted. Sorry.
Yeah, I am a little insulted there.
All right. So before we wrap,
Candy, go buy another pair of sweatpants because Mark will let you down. We'll get you back on here.
Have you seen the Eddie Murray Netflix special?
I've not.
Oh my gosh. Like, I love that guy. Like, I just wanted to cry. Like when it was all done, like it was just, he didn't die or anything, but like, it was just an awesome, like heartwarming, like episode. It's like an hour and a half. You got to check it out on Netflix.
All right.
Brandon, thank you for coming on. Tom, thank you for coming on. Visitors, check out our Straight Up Chicago merch store. You know, we have with summer here, we got t-shirts. I think they're only $10. You could represent GC, represent Straight Up Chicago. And you can have the chance to get into our Chicago Facts. So Tom, thank you. Brandon, thank you. And we will see you guys next week. And don't forget to hit that smash button.
Oh, I love it. Smash that subscribe button. You can't hit a smash button.
I botched that whole end.
Take us out, Jimmy.